Hello, my friend. Welcome to Dreamy Nights. There is a quiet place waiting in this evening, and this story will lead gently toward it, like lantern light, guiding the way through soft falling snow. Every breath can loosen the day a little more. Every moment can grow slower and kinder until only rest remains. So settle in, let the night draw its calm curtain around the room, and allow the world outside to grow distant and soft. Before the story begins, if these peaceful journeys bring comfort and ease, a gentle subscription is a quiet way of returning to them whenever rest is needed. If the heart finds refuge here, it is warmly welcomed again and again. Now, the story of a winter evening and a glowing bookstore begins. It is the kind of night that seems to arrive on tiptoe. Above the quiet street, the sky is a deep, velvety blue, and the first threads of snow begin to fall slow and uncertain, as if the clouds are testing the air. Each flake drifts lazily downward, catching the faint glow of street lamps and window light, turning in the still air before landing. The sound of the world softens as the chill settles in, and the pavement takes on a faint silvery sheen. The air is crisp, cool against bare skin, carrying the faint metallic scent of snow about to deepen. Along this hushed street stands a small bookstore, its windows glowing with a warm amber light that spills out onto the forming layer of snow. The glass is slightly misted at the edges, where warmth meets cold, creating soft halos around the shapes inside. Wooden letters on a gently weathered sign sway almost imperceptibly, the faintest creak audible when the wind curls around the doorway. Through the glass rows of bookshelves, dark and polished, can just be made out, rising like quiet guardians in the tender light. Outside, footsteps on the pavement are muffled, as if the snow is already practicing its winter hush. The night has no hurry. The sky, the lamps, the gathering snow all seem to agree to move more slowly. A small brass bell hangs above the door of the bookstore. Still, for now, its surface dimmed to a soft patina that catches the glow from within. The door itself, framed in dark wood, holds a subtle shine, where countless hands have touched it and passed inside, seeking stories and warmth. Then, gently, the door opens. The bell gives a soft chiming note, simple and bright, before dissolving back into the quiet of the evening. A wave of warm air slips out into the cool night, carrying with it the layered scent of old paper brewed tea and a faint hint of polished wood. The air inside feels softer, fuller, less sharp than the winter chill. As the door eases shut, the thin whistle of wind from outside fades, replaced by the deeper silence held within the bookstore's walls. Just inside the entrance, a small rug receives the faint damp of snow-dusted shoes. A coat still freckled with melting flakes is slowly unbuttoned the fabric, yielding with a gentle rustle. Fingers, slightly chilled, brush along the sleeves, sending tiny droplets of water to glimmer briefly on the fibers before sinking in. A scarf, woven thick and soft, is unwound from around the neck and folded over one arm, its texture plush and reassuring against the skin. In the space of these small motions, the body begins to shift from the sharpness of outside cold to the deep comfort of interior warmth. The foyer of the bookstore is small and welcoming, shaped by years of careful use. A narrow wooden table stands against the wall, its surface worn to a soft sheen by countless hands. A small vase holds a few sprigs of winter greenery, their faint resinous scent mingling gently with the aroma of tea and paper. Nearby, a low lamp with a linen shade casts a halo of golden light, the fabric glowing softly as it diffuses the brightness into something tender and calm. Shadows gather at the edges of this glow, not menacing, but restful, like folds of a heavy velvet curtain. Beyond this first pool of light, the shelves begin. They rise in quiet rows, soaked in the same amber glow, their wood darkened and smoothed by time. Books line them in soft, uneven patterns, spines of deep blues, muted reds, gentle creams. The bindings bear delicate ridges, faint cracks, gilded lettering that catches the light in thin, shimmering strokes. Dust motes drift in the air, slowly spiraling through the lamp's beam, turning lazily before fading into shadow again. The scent of paper is rich and layered ink and fibers, and long ago handling, like a memory that cannot be entirely named. A kettle has been left to rest on a small tray behind a counter nearby. Its surface is slightly clouded, the handle smooth under the hand that reaches for it. The quiet hum of recently boiled water has faded, but the metal is still warm to the touch. Cups of thin porcelain edges, gently rounded, are stacked within easy reach. As one is lifted, it gives a faint musical clink against the others. A spoon rests beside them, its cool metal a gentle contrast to the lingering heat of the kettle. Steam rises as water is poured into the cup, swirling up in translucent wisps that carry the delicate fragrance of tea leaves, earthy, floral, and calm. The bookstore feels like a living thing, breathing slowly in the deep of winter evening. Every surface has softened corners, every piece of furniture bears the story of times spent in quiet company. The wooden floor holds the memory of steps taken, the boards faintly creaking. In certain places, their sound low and familiar. A stack of books near the entrance waits patiently on a small stool, their covers slightly glossy in the lamplight, inviting touch. The air is neither too warm nor too cool. It is the temperature of comfort, where muscle and breath both begin to release their tension. A figure drifts further inside, moving past the doorway and deeper into the aisles. The sound of each footfall is muted, cushioned by the worn rug runners laid between shelves. Fingers trace lightly along the edges of the book spines, the textures varying from smooth cloth to grainy paper, from embossed leather to glossy jackets. There is no urgency to choose, no pressure to decide. The simple act of moving through this space, of feeling the give of the floor underfoot and the whisper of fabric against wood, is a kind of quiet ceremony. The air holds it all in a kind of gentle suspension. At the far end of the main aisle, a slightly larger space opens up, where the ceiling lifts and the shelves curve away to the sides. Here another lamp glows with a softer lower light, its bulb hidden beneath a frosted glass shade. The illumination pools like liquid gold across the surface of a nearby table, where a small stack of open books lies in waiting. Beside them, a candle has been lit, its flame low and steady, the wax forming a smooth, pale lake around the wick. The faint scent of beeswax blends with paper and tea, adding another subtle layer of warmth. Snow continues to fall outside, unseen, but gently felt. The windows at the front of the shop catch the occasional shimmer of light from passing lamps. But the glass now is mostly a blurred canvas of frost condensation and drifting white. The sounds of the street are reduced to the softest murmurs, an indistinct hush that becomes part of the background like distant ocean waves. Inside, the prevailing sounds are quieter still, the almost silent sigh of pages shifting as air moves the tiny crackle of candlewick, the barely audible clink of porcelain as the cup is set down. The figure pauses near the center of the room, letting the eyes adjust entirely to the amber and gold and shadow. In the gentle half-light, titles blur into a tapestry of shapes and colors rather than words. This softening feels kind, an invitation to to release thoughts from sharp focus. The mind begins to mirror the room's stillness. Thoughts lengthen slow, like the shadows stretching across the floor. Here, time does not push forward. It simply rests like snow on a quiet rooftop. A sense of sanctuary settles over everything. The bookstore, cradled in the heart of winter night, seems to exist just slightly apart from the rest of the world. Inside, warmth and lamplight gather in corners, wrapping lamely around shelves and tables, leaving no harsh lines. Outside, the snow continues its patient descent, layering the street with softness. The contrast between chill air and interior warmth is no longer jarring. Instead, it feels like a gentle boundary protecting the calm within. In this first breath of winter, the bookstore stands as a small, glowing harbor. The figure within it inhales the faint sweetness of tea, the dry, comforting scent of paper, the clean coolness that still clings to wool and scarf. Exhale follows. Inhale, unhurried, matching the rhythm of candle flame and drifting dust motes. The evening has only just begun to unfold, but already the world outside feels hushed and far away, leaving only this pocket of light wood and quiet company. The quiet of the bookstore holds steady like a deep, contented breath. The figure stands for a moment in the center of that warmth, listening to the faint murmur of the building, the tiny creak of settling beams, the nearly inaudible rustle of pages as air shifts around the shelves. The contrast between the silvered, wintry world outside and the mellow glow inside creates a feeling of having crossed a threshold not only of space, but of mood. Slowly, the figure moves back toward the entrance where the coat and scarf rest, carrying the last traces of cold. The coat is lifted with unhurried care, the fabric thick beneath gentle hands. It is shaken lightly, and a few remaining snowflakes loosen, melting almost at once upon contact with the warmer air. Droplets glisten briefly on the fibers before fading into the cloth. The coat is then slid onto a wooden peg beside the door, its weight settling with a soft, familiar sigh. The scarf is folded, each edge smoothed over the other, and draped nearby the wool, now retaining only the memory of winter's chill rather than the sensation itself. The body feels the difference almost immediately. Shoulders lower by the slightest degree. Breath deepens. Without the barrier of heavy fabric, the warmth of the bookstore wraps more fully around the figure, seeping gently into skin and muscle. A faint hum of comfort settles along the spine. The wooden pegboard against the wall, bearing other coats and hats, seems like a small, silent testament to all those who have arrived carrying cold and left carrying only the lingering ease of this place. A small wooden bench sits beneath the hanging coats, its surface worn smooth and pale. The figure sits for a moment, feeling the firm, familiar support of the wood. Fingers rest on either side, tracing the gentle curve of the seat, the rounded edges polished by time. The bench carries the faint scent of varnish and old pine warmed by the air. A breath is taken not deliberately, but naturally, as lungs fill with the layered fragrance of the bookstore paper, tea wood, beeswax, and the subtler notes of cloth and wool, drying slowly in the warmth. On a nearby shelf near the entrance, a row of small glass jars holds loose tea. Their lids are metal dulled to a soft matte sheen. One is lifted, its lid twisted with a quiet, grainy sound. Inside, dark leaves curl and twist, carrying a gentle aroma that rises as the jar tilts. Notes of citrus, a whisper of honey, a suggestion of flowers dried under summer sun. Another jar holds a deeper, earthier scent, warm and grounding. The figure inhales, savoring each fragrance, choosing the one that feels most fitting for a night of snow and softly glowing shelves. The chosen tea is spooned with unhurried motions into the waiting porcelain cup. The spoon taps lightly against the rim, a delicate bell-like sound that fades into the air. Warm water is poured once more from the nearby kettle, the quiet stream sending up pale ribbons of steam. As the leaves darken and unfurl, the liquid slowly shifts in color, deepening from clear to amber, then to a rich translucent gold. The scent of the steeping tea blooms gently, expanding into the surrounding space. It mingles with the old paper aroma, creating a sense of depth and comfort in the air, as though the room has drawn another soft woolen layer around itself. Cup in hand, the figure rises the porcelain warm against the fingers and begins to move again into the heart of the bookstore. This time, the path is taken more slowly and with a different kind of attention. The shelves are no longer distant shapes. They are close at hand, each one a tapestry of spines and titles and textures. The first aisle is lined mostly with older volumes. Their bindings are cloth-bound colors, softened by time-faded reds, gentle greens, grays, that once were deep blue. Tiny bits of gilded lettering remain on some spines, catching the lamplight like slender lines of gold. The scent here is slightly denser aged paper, carrying a faint hint of vanilla and dust, warmed by the room. The figure moves along this aisle, letting fingertips brush lightly over a spine here, a corner there. The sensation is delicate, yet grounding, a tiny ridge in the cloth, a slight indentation where letters have been pressed into leather, the cool smoothness of a laminated cover. A book is eased carefully from its place, its spine making a soft whispering sound against its neighbors. The cover, once fully revealed, bears a design in gentle tones, perhaps a winter landscape, perhaps a simple title in elegant script. It is regarded for a moment in the lamplight, then held against the palm, the weight pleasant and reassuring. Nearby, another aisle opens to one side, a subtle branch that leads to a cozier, narrower row. The figure steps into it, and the light shifts slightly. Here, the lamps are lower, softer their glow, touching only the middle shelves and leaving the highest and lowest ones in a restful dimness. The floorboards creak quietly underfoot, a sound that feels more like a murmur than a complaint, as though the building is acknowledging each step with familiarity. The air is still, save for the slowly cooling steam rising from the tea and the nearly imperceptible movement of air around the lamp's warmth. As the figure continues, the aisles begin to bend, forming gentle curves rather than straight lines. The layout is not a strict grid. Instead, it is an inviting labyrinth designed less for efficiency and more for wandering. Shelves, angled slightly, leading the steps around a corner where a small reading niche appears, a cushioned bench beneath a narrow window, a stack of books waiting beside a small shaded lamp. The niche is noted, appreciated, and left for later as the figure moves on, guided by a quiet sense that something deeper within the shop is calling. The scent of the fire begins to reach the figure, now faint at first, then steadily richer as the path continues inward. It is the scent of seasoned wood, gently burning, releasing its stored sunlight, and days in the slow language of warmth. There is a hint of smoke, but it is softened by distance and mingled with beeswax and tea, resulting in a fragrance that feels ancient and welcoming all at once. The air temperature shifts just slightly, growing warmer with each step, the difference so subtle that it feels more like a memory than a change. The shelves part more widely ahead, opening into a small alcove that seems to sit at the heart of the bookstore. Here, the fire lives. Set into a low brick hearth, the flames flicker with unhurried grace. The logs have settled into a bed of embers, their edges glowing a gentle deep orange, while smaller tongues of flame rise and curl around them, bright and delicate. The sound of the fire is soft but distinct, a faint crackle, the occasional tiny pop, the quiet sigh when a log shifts and resettles. This sound laces itself through the silence, adding a rhythm that feels both ancient and deeply calming. In front of the hearth stands a plush armchair, its fabric a muted, warm color somewhere between moss and smoke. The upholstery bears the faint impressions of countless evenings of reading and dreaming. Its cushions are shaped by time to welcome another figure with familiar ease. A knitted throw rests over one arm, its yarn thick and soft, the pattern simple and comforting. Beside the chair, a small round table holds room for a book, a cup, perhaps a hand, resting in stillness between pages. A lamp on the table casts a gentle golden halo, leaving the rest of the alcove awash in layered shadows and firelight. The figure steps into this space almost instinctively, drawn by the warmth and the way the light plays across the floor. The wooden boards near the hearth glow with a gentle polish, their grain catching the fire's reflection in wavering lines. The heat from the fire brushes the skin in a soft wave, not overwhelming, but present a quiet invitation to stay. The cup of tea is set carefully upon the table, the porcelain making a soft, clear sound as it meets the wood. Small circles of steam rise from the surface of the liquid, drifting up into the lamplight before fading into the darker air above. A moment is taken simply to stand there facing the fire. The figure watches as the flames curl and bend, rising and falling in unhurried patterns. Within the embers, tiny points of brighter light glimmer and fade. The hearth bricks, warmed by the flames, glow subtly, their rough surfaces turned into a muted tapestry of reds and browns. This gentle play of light and shadow seems to slow the entire room, aligning everything to the same tranquil rhythm. At last, the figure lowers gently into the armchair. The cushions respond with a soft, welcoming sigh, giving just enough to cradle the body without effort. The fabric is pleasantly textured beneath the hands, a mix of softness and slight weave that feels grounding. The knitted throw is drawn lightly across the lap, its yarn warm from the nearby fire. Under its weight, the body sinks more fully into stillness, supported on every side. The chair beneath the blanket above, the air softly warmed all around. The cup is lifted again, palms cupping its gentle heat. The tea has reached its perfect depth of flavor, the aroma rising with each slight movement, hints of fruit, a floral trace, a warmth that seems to echo the fire itself. The first sip is slow. The liquid is warm but not hot, gliding across the tongue, leaving behind a quiet sweetness that lingers. With each sip, the chest seems to loosen a little more, and the breath flows more freely. The firelight dances across the surface of the tea, creating fleeting patterns that vanish as quickly as they appear. From the table, the book brought from the shelves is taken up and rested upon the lap. Its cover, warmed by the room, feels smooth and reassuring. The pages, when opened, release a fresh wave of that beloved scent ink fiber, the faintest hint of dust. Fingers slide along the edges of the paper, feeling the soft, feathery texture of the cut. The type on the page is dark and even, each letter settled calmly into place. There is no need to hurry through it. The simple act of resting with it is enough. The story within becomes less a set of events and more a gentle current, something to drift upon rather than follow. In this alcove, in this armchair, beside the quiet, ember-rich fire, the world outside feels further away than ever. The snow might still be falling, layering streets and rooftops in white. The sky might be deepening from twilight to true night. But here, within these walls, the only measure of time is the slow burning of logs, the steady cooling of tea, the unhurried turning of a page. Thoughts which earlier moved quickly and restlessly now drift like the dust motes in the lamplight, rising, circling, and then dissolving into the soft background of the mind. The doorway between the cold and this warmth is now far behind, yet its presence can still be felt, a gentle awareness that somewhere just beyond frost-touched glass, winter continues. And yet, this awareness brings no tension. Instead, it deepens the sense of refuge here in the glow of the fire and the cradle of the armchair in the light that lays itself gently upon shelves and bindings and fingertips. Within this small sanctuary, surrounded by stories and quiet flame, the heart of the evening is reached, and everything begins to settle into an even more profound calm. The fire continues its gentle murmur, the soft pulse of warmth moving through the alcove like a quiet heartbeat. The figure rests in the armchair, feeling the subtle weight of the knitted throw, the warmth of tea lingering in the palms, and the steady presence of the room. Minutes drift by, unmeasured and unpressured, as the flames rise and settle in a soothing rhythm. The glow they cast touches everything nearby: the spine of the book, the wooden arm of the chair, the worn grain of the floor, with the softness that feels almost like memory. The air shimmers faintly near the hearth warmth, bending the light into a gentle dance. A page is turned with unhurried grace, the motion slow enough that the faint rasp of paper becomes a quiet grounding sound in the stillness. The page shifts easily beneath the fingertips, feather light, yet textured its edges, carrying the slightest roughness from years of turning. The ink on the paper appears warmer in the lamplight letters, settling into their places with calm purpose. The story is simple, steady. Something about winter fields, a lantern carried down a quiet path, a world touched by calm rather than urgency. Even without reading every word, the presence of the story comforts, as though the book itself breathes slowly along with the reader. The figure lifts the cup again, bringing its warmth closer to the face. Steam rises in delicate curls, almost invisible, until it enters the glow of the nearby lamp. The tea has cooled slightly, reaching that perfect temperature where warmth soothes rather than sharpens. Each sip feels like a continuation of the fire's own heat, as if flame and tea and breath belong to the same quiet cycle. The sweetness at the edges of the drink lingers with soft persistence, drifting through the throat and settling like a memory of summer inside a winter night. Across the alcove, shadows shift slowly on the wall. The flames cast them in wavering patterns, stretching and softening as the logs settle deeper into their bed of embers. The shadows seem to breathe long, slow motions that mimic the natural rise and fall of quiet nighttime air. This interplay of light and darkness creates a kind of gentle tapestry on the wall, full of subtle shapes that invite reflection. Nothing is sharp. Everything is blended into muted curves and softened angles. The figure closes the book for a moment, sliding a finger between its pages to keep the place. The cover rests against the lap, warm from the earlier touch, and the hands fold gently over it. The fire's steadiness becomes more noticeable now that the rustle of pages has paused. A small glowing ember shifts with a soft crack, sending a brief shimmer through the alcove. The air carries a deeper hint of wood smoke now, subtle, delicate, and comforting. It mingles with the lingering aroma of tea, creating a scent that feels old and familiar, as if the room has held this fragrance on many winter nights before. The figure leans back more fully into the cushions, allowing the chair to support every part of the body. The knitted throw shifts slightly, settling more closely around the legs. Its fibers are thick and gentle, storing warmth, that spreads across the lap and thighs in smooth waves. The weight is reassuring, a steady presence that deepens the sense of being held in calm. The chair's armrests, smooth and worn, cradle the elbows with a stability that encourages stillness. Nearby, the small round table holds the cup and candle in their quiet arrangement. The candle's flame is low, its wick curling like a small dark hook at the center of a pale pool of wax. The light it casts is soft and buttery, illuminating just enough of the tabletop to reveal faint scratches from years of use. These small marks tell their own stories. Cups set down gently, books placed with care, perhaps a quiet evening spent writing in the soft glow. The objects here seem to participate in the silence, adding depth rather than breaking it. Another page is turned in the book, though the figure hardly reads so much as drifts through the words. The story shifts to a small cottage nestled in snow lamplight, warming its windows. A sense of slow and gentle living. The imagery mirrors the alcove itself in certain ways. Firelight wood, winter air, held outside by warmth within. This soft mirroring creates a layered piece where story and reality blend into a single comforting experience. The book becomes less a narrative to follow and more a companion to rest with. In the quiet, the figure's gaze lifts slightly, drifting from the page toward the shelves beyond the alcove. The books there are half lit by the fire, their spines catching the glow in slender lines. Some bindings gleam with gold. Others remain matte and dark. The shelves themselves seem to hum with their own presence. Years of collected stories, quiet afternoons, hands pulling books from their places and returning them gently. The wood is dark and rich, the grain running in smooth waves beneath the finish. Dust rests lightly on the uppermost edges, turning to silver whenever the firelight catches it. The figure's thoughts begin to drift in the slow patterns as the shadows. The mind wanders through memories of other quiet nights, other peaceful rooms, other moments when warmth wrapped itself around tired bones. These thoughts are not sharp or demanding. They move like slow water, gently shaping the edges of awareness. The room welcomes this drifting holding, every wandering thought, as if it were part of the story unfolding in the glow. Outside, the snow continues to settle, though the figure cannot see it directly. Its presence is felt in the faint coolness that lingers on the window panes, in the muffled quiet, mingling with the fire's gentle voice. A subtle reflection flickers across the frosted glass, a blurred, golden echo of the flames, and this small light merges with the nighttime softness beyond. The world outside seems far away, a hushed landscape sealed in white, while here the interior remains warm, glowing alive with the slow dance of flame and shadow. A faint shift in the fire draws the figure's attention back to the hearth. One of the logs gives a soft sigh, collapsing inward as its core glows brighter. Sparks shimmer for a moment before settling into the embers. The change is gentle, almost meditative, and the heat deepens slightly in response. The figure adjusts the throw, pulling it closer around the torso. The texture brushes the skin of the hands, soft and slightly ridged from thick yarn, creating a tactile rhythm that matches the calm of the room. The book is set aside now, placed carefully on the table beside the candle. Its weight makes a barely audible thump, absorbed quickly by the thick air. The cup is lifted once more, though only a few sips remain. The tea is cooler now, but still warms the tongue and throat. The final sip leaves a lingering sweetness that seems to settle inside the chest, adding to the quiet heat that already fills the body. With hands now free, the figure lets them rest along the armrests, palms facing down, fingers softly curved. There is a rhythm to the breath, steady, slow, unforced. Inhale draws in the warmth, the scent of firewood and beeswax. Exhale releases the remaining tension of the day. The sound of breathing blends seamlessly with the room's ambience, creating a gentle internal soundtrack that harmonizes with crackling flame and shifting shadow. Moments pass without the need for thought. The room seems to hold the figure in a gentle embrace, each detail contributing to the sense of sanctuary. The glow of the fire, the warmth of the blanket, the hum of old books, the softness of winter pressing lightly from beyond the walls. Time stretches, becomes broad and fluid like a warm river moving slowly under moonlight. Eventually, the figure leans slightly forward to rest elbows on knees, gazing quietly at the fire. The proximity deepens the warmth against the face, and the scent of wood becomes more pronounced. Tiny flecks of ash shift within the embers, glowing briefly before dissolving. The figure watches the motion with calm focus, letting the fire's gentle patterns guide the mind into deeper ease. Each rise and fall of flame is a quiet reminder that stillness can be found in motion, that rest can be found in simple observation. The alcove feels like a world within a world, a space where night pauses to breathe. Beyond the shelves, the rest of the bookstore awaits, filled with more books, more soft lights, more quiet corners. But for now, this fireside cradle holds all that is needed: warmth, stillness, and story light. The fire's warmth lingers behind as the figure rises from the armchair, allowing the knitted throw to slide slowly from the lap and settle softly onto the cushion. The body feels slightly lighter, as though the heat has loosened something deep within. Hands brush gently along the fabric one last time before drifting away from the alcove. The air cools just a little with each step, not cold, merely returning to the bookstore's quiet neutrality. The shift in temperature feels refreshing, like stepping from beneath a heavy blanket into dim morning light. The shelves ahead form inviting pathways, soft corridors lined with color and texture. The figure enters one of them unhurriedly, drawn by the subtle pull of deeper stillness. The lamplight changes here, diffused through frosted glass shades and softened by distance from the fire. Shadows gather in the corners and between the spines of books, gentle and unthreatening. The air is touched with the faintest hint of dryness from old paper, a scent that carries memories of long ago reading rooms and quiet afternoons. A hand drifts along the nearest shelf, fingertips gliding across bindings. Leather linens, smooth-coated paper, each provides a tiny shift in sensation. Some books give slightly under the touch, their spines worn, their pages softened by time. Others remain firm and new edges, crisp colors, vibrant. The gentle rhythm of walking and touching becomes a kind of meditation, guided only by texture and curiosity, not intention. A small table stands tucked between two tall shelves. On it rests a collection of older volumes, arranged in a slight arc as though someone once left them there for study. The table's surface shows faint rings and subtle scratches, signs of many cups and hands that once rested upon it. A low lamp sits at its center, its shade woven from thin fabric that glows a warm ivory. The figure pauses beside the table, letting the light fall gently across the nearby books. One book in particular draws attention, not because of its title, which is barely visible, but because of its delicate cover. A gentle landscape illustration, muted by age, stretches across it. A snowy field, a small lantern, a distant cottage at dusk. The figure lifts it carefully, feeling the softness of worn cloth beneath the fingertips. When the book opens, its spine creaks faintly, a comforting, familiar sound that blends into the stillness. Within the pages are yellowed at the edges, thin and slightly wavy from many winters of use. A few faint pencil marks wander along the margins, little underlines, quiet notes left by a reader from another time. The words on the page describe simple moments: wind brushing against a window pane, footsteps in fresh snow, a kettle cooling near a hearth. The simplicity of these images echoes the quiet of the bookstore itself, creating a gentle mirroring that settles into the mind. After a few moments, the book is closed with care and placed back onto the table. The figure continues walking deeper into the stacks, where the shelves grow taller and the air becomes even more still. Here, the lamplight reaches only so far, leaving the high shelves in soft shadow. Dust motes drift through the beams of light, turning lazily in the air like slow-moving stars caught in a quiet orbit. Their gentle movement brings a sense of time slowed to its most peaceful rhythm. A narrow ladder leans against a shelf nearby its rungs, polished smooth from decades of hands and feet. The wood has a soft patina, warm to the touch, carrying the faint scent of varnish and age. The figure runs a hand along one of the rungs, feeling the solid weight of the ladder beneath the fingers. It has likely been in this store for years, steady, dependable part of the landscape as much as the shelves themselves. Across the aisle, a small framed illustration hangs on the wall. It depicts an open book, surrounded by swirling shapes of ink and light, as though stories rise from the pages in gentle arcs. The colors are subtle, soft blues, muted golds, pale grays. The frame creaks slightly when touched its wood, expanding gently in the warmth of the room. The simplicity of the art blends perfectly with the bookstore's quiet charm, adding another layer of texture to the space. The figure moves again, step by step, deeper into the back rows. Here, the floor is carpeted in a muted pattern of deep greens and browns. The colors feel natural, earthbound, grounding the space. Footfalls are quieter now, cushioned and soft, leaving only the faintest suggestion of sound. The air feels slightly cooler, touched by the distant draft that often lingers in older buildings, yet still wrapped in the bookstore's overall warmth. A faint scent of dried flowers drifts from somewhere nearby, perhaps potpourri, tucked into a small bowl, or lavender stored within a forgotten drawer. The fragrance is subtle, barely there, but adds a whisper of summer to the winter-bound store. It blends with the scent of paper and wood, creating a delicate harmony of seasons that feels both comforting and timeless. At the end of the aisle, a small reading nook appears, half hidden by the curve of the shelves. A narrow window lets in a faint sliver of moonlight silver and diffuse through frosted glass. This light falls gently across a cushioned bench, upholstered in soft fabric, with tiny embroidered threads that glimmer faintly when they catch the moon's glow. 2 pillows rest against the wall, one a muted grey-blue, the other a warm ivory. They seem to have been arranged recently, though no sign of another presence lingers. The space feels cared for, inviting, like a quiet secret meant to be discovered only by those moving slowly enough to find it. The figure sits down the cushion, giving slightly beneath the weight. The fabric is cool to the touch at first, then slowly warms. Hands rest lightly on the lap, and a breath flows out deeper than before. The window beside the bench shows only soft halos of moonlight shifting through frost. Beyond the glass, the snow must still be falling, though its movement is invisible from here. What is visible instead is the soft glow of moonlight spreading in gentle gradients across the window pane. Resting in this small alcove, surrounded by books and old wood, the figure lets thoughts drift freely. There is no need to focus on anything specific. No need for understanding or decision. Thoughts arrive like slow waves and fade with the same ease. One moment brings a memory of quiet mornings. Another brings an image from earlier in the evening, the fire's glow, the warmth of tea, the armchair that still waits by the hearth. These reflections move without weight, unanchored, and gentle part of the night's slow rhythm. The figure's gaze drifts to the nearest shelf, where a row of slender books stands slightly uneven. The spines tilt just enough to show they have been touched often, perhaps, by curious visitors who pass through during quieter hours. One slim volume leans away from the rest. Its spine is light in color, almost white with faint silver lettering. The figure lifts it carefully, noticing how easily it leaves its place, as though it has been waiting for this moment. Its cover is textured like soft cloth, with a design pressed faintly into the surface, a delicate pattern of leaves intertwined with tiny stars. Opening the book reveals pages that feel surprisingly new, crisp at the edges, the scent of fresh ink still lingering faintly. The words inside speak of winter nights, filled with quiet companionship. A lantern set upon a windowsill, a small bird settling into pine branches. The hush of snow drifting through moonlight. The imagery settles into the mind like a soft snowfall, layering gently over earlier thoughts. The book is returned to its place on the shelf, its spine fitting easily against its neighbors. The figure sits for another moment, letting the stillness deepen. The window's moonlight shifts ever so slightly as a cloud moves across the sky, softening the brightness into a cool bluish gray. Shadows reshape themselves across the alcove, filling the corners with deeper gradients of quiet. Finally, the figure rises again, moving slowly back toward the main room. The path through the shelves feels even softer now, as though the very air has quieted to match the hush of drifting thoughts. Every object, every book, every lamp, every fold of shadow seems to rest in its own peaceful presence. The figure's breath remains slow, matching the tranquil rhythm of the store. The closer the figure comes to the firelit alcove, the warmer the air becomes. The glow spreads outward, illuminating the floorboards in soft amber. The armchair weights its cushions, holding the memory of warmth and weight. The knitted throw draped where it was left, as though inviting a return whenever the figure desires. The sight brings a subtle calm, an unspoken reassurance that comfort remains, always ready, always near. But for now, the figure pauses at the boundary between stacks and firelight, letting the two atmospheres blend, the coolness of moonlit aisles and the warmth of the glowing hearth. Both belong to the night. Both hold their own kind of peace. In this quiet balance, the evening continues, soft as breath, unhurried as snowfall, settling deeper into stillness. The firelit alcove remains warm behind the figure, but now the night draws the steps toward another quiet space, one that waits just beyond the curve of the main shelves. The bookstore holds many such corners, each with its own character, its own small constellation of light and shadow. This next one is softer, quieter still, lit not by a fire, but by a single lantern resting on a low wooden stand. Its glow is dim and steady, almost like a deep breath made visible. As the figure approaches, the lantern's light spreads slowly across the floor, brushing against footprints in the soft grain of the wood. The sound of each step is hushed, padded by the woven runners placed along the aisle. The air grows slightly cooler here, not from any draft, but from distance from the hearth. It carries a different fragrance, less of smoke, more of parchment, ink, and books that have rested untouched for years. A faint sweetness lingers too, perhaps traces of a long ago candle or dried flowers stored somewhere between the shelves. The lantern sits on a sturdy stand carved with gentle curves, its brass frame softened by time. The glass is slightly fogged, perhaps from years of warm light glowing behind it. creating a halo-like effect around the flame inside. The light flickers only a little, as though respecting the stillness of the surrounding books. Beside the lantern, a small stack of hardcover volumes lies arranged in a neat, uneven tower. Their covers show muted colors: forest green, deep blue, soft earthen brown, each with a gentle sheen of wear. The figure lowers to sit upon a wide floor cushion left near the lantern, its fabric thick and inviting. The cushion settles easily beneath the weight, creating a soft cradle at the base of the shelves. In this lantern-lit corner, sound becomes even gentler, every motion hushed by woven cloth and the softness of the dim amber halo. A hand reaches for the topmost book on the stack. The cover is smooth, with only tiny scuffs at the corners. When lifted, it releases a soft whisper of movement, and a faint aroma of aged paper escapes from between the pages. Opening the book reveals a printed dedication on the first page, ink faded at the edges, the lettering delicate and slightly uneven from the printing style of another era. Turning the page brings forth an illustration, lines of ink forming a small cottage half buried in snow, a lantern glowing in its window, smoke curling into a pale sky. The art is simple yet expressive, each stroke made with deliberate slowness, as though the artist hoped to capture not just the scene, but the stillness within it. The figure turns another page and text begins. The words describe a quiet evening in deep winter where the world outside rests beneath a blanket of white, and those within find warmth around a hearth. The rhythm of the sentences flows softly, like a gentle river under moonlight. Though the story holds no conflict or urgency, it draws the mind into its atmosphere, each detail inviting rest, each image settling deeper into the heart's quiet places. A pause comes not from interruption, but from the natural pull of reflection. The figure's gaze lifts from the page to the lantern. The flame within it burns with slow confidence, bright enough to illuminate the nearby books, soft enough to feel like a whisper. Its glow pools around the cushion, wrapping the space in gentle light. Shadows form around the base of the shelves, long and smooth, shifting only slightly with each tiny movement of the flame. The lantern's heat is mild, just enough to warm the air by a few degrees, creating a delicate cocoon of comfort. A hand reaches for the next book in the stack. This one is older, with a cloth-bound cover textured beneath the fingertips. Its spine is slightly loose, hinting at many years of careful reading. When the book opens, its pages feel thinner and more fragile. They lift easily, moving with the faintest resistance. The text inside is printed in a tidy serif typeface, small but readable in the lantern glow. The story begins not with a scene, but with a reflection on time, on silence, on the gentle weight of winter evenings. The tone is tender, contemplative, almost like a companion's soft voice. As the figure reads, breaths slow naturally. The sentences invite stillness, each paragraph offering small images to rest the mind upon a candle burning in a window, snow drifting against a door, the quiet companionship of a sleeping cat in a corner. None of these images require interpretation. They simply exist, offering the mind a place to land, settle, drift. After a time, the book closes with care placed neatly atop the cushion beside the figure. The lantern crackles softly, a tiny sound of wick and flame adjusting. The figure leans back slightly, supported by the firm, warm presence of the wall behind. Eyes drift toward the ceiling, where lamplight from distant aisles meets the lantern's glow in faint intersecting beams. Dust motes glimmer briefly as they rise, then fade again, disappearing into the shadowed height of the room. The figure's thoughts drift in gentle currents. The faint warmth of the lantern blends with memories of the fire, creating a layered sense of comfort, glow upon glow, warmth upon warmth. The scent of paper remains steady, soothing grounding. In this corner, the world feels entirely suspended, as though time itself has decided to rest for a while. A third book is chosen from the stack, its cover decorated with delicate pressed leaves encased beneath glossy varnish. The leaves are brown and gold, preserved in a pattern that resembles autumn held in stillness. Inside the pages are thicker, more textured, like handmade paper. They hold small watercolor illustrations beside short poetic paragraphs, moments rather than stories. A bird resting on a snowy branch, a cup of tea steaming beside a fogged window, moonlight on blankets of snow. Each scene is gentle, unhurried, a meditation in itself. The figure turns each page slowly, letting the images and words settle before moving on. A small smile forms, not sharp, not bright, simply soft. Books like this, not meant to be read quickly. They are meant to be held, considered, savored. Here, under the lantern's glow, they feel especially fitting. A breeze brushes faintly against the back of the figure's neck. Not cold, just a subtle shift in the air. It comes from a narrow vent near the ceiling, bringing a hint of the faint winter outside. The contrast makes the lantern's warmth feel more intimate, more protective. The flame responds with a soft tremble before regaining its steady light. In the quiet, the figure sets the book aside and rests palms on the fabric of the cushion. The texture is slightly rough woven with thicker threads grounding through touch. The breath moves with ease now, deeper, smoother, following the natural cadence of the setting. The world seems to pause around this lantern-lit corner as though honoring the moment with its own stillness. With slow intention, the figure reaches up to adjust the lantern. The metal frame feels warm beneath the fingers, soft with age. The wick is raised just slightly, and the flame brightens by a small degree, casting a wider pool of light across the floor. Books on the lower shelves gleam faintly, their spines reflecting the glow like silent watchkeepers. The figure observes this quiet transformation, the widening of the light, the deepening of shadows. The way the room seems to lean in subtly around the lantern's radiance. It is a moment of gentle agency, a chance to shape the atmosphere with a touch. When the hand withdraws, the lantern hums softly, its flame dancing with renewed steadiness. Returning to the cushion, the figure settles more fully into the space. The next breath is calm and expansive. Fingers curl loosely around the edges of the cushion. Shoulders drop. The air carries warmth and the faint scent of old ink. Thoughts become softer, yet drifting through the mind like snowflakes crossing lamplight. The lantern glows on, unwavering. In this small silent corner, surrounded by stories and warm shadow, the night deepens into a deeper peace, one made of paper light and gentle winter air. The stacks beyond remain quiet sentinels, holding their own countless worlds. The figure rests between them, part of the calm, part of the stillness, part of the night's slow unfolding. The lantern's gentle glow fades behind the figure as they rise from the floor cushion, leaving that warm little corner settled and peaceful. The air around the shelves feels slightly cooler again, though still softened by the lingering warmth drifting from the distant hearth. The figure pauses for a moment, adjusting to the shift in light, moving from the intimate amber circle around the lantern into the bookstore's broader, more moonlit quiet. Farther down the aisle, a large window stretches across one wall, its frosted glass shimmering faintly like pressed silver. It is the only source of light in this part of the store, aside from the distant scattered lamps and the soft glow that still traces the aisles. The moonlight enters in gentle waves diffused by the frost, casting a pale wash, that softens the outlines of shelves and turns every surface into a muted gradient of silver and shadow. The figure walks toward this window slowly, the ambient coolness brushing lightly against the skin. The wooden floorboards creak underfoot, but the sound is subtle, softened by the thick, aging rug runners. As the figure approaches the window, the world outside begins to reveal itself in serene, snowy stillness. Snow falls in a slow, endless drift. Flakes tumble in gentle spirals, caught in an invisible breeze, glittering faintly when they pass through a beam of streetlight. The street is empty, layered with a fresh sheet of white that glows with a quiet luminescence. Roofs are blanketed railings, softened, and distant buildings appear like faint silhouettes wrapped in winter's hush. Moonlight reflects off the snow, giving the entire landscape a dreamlike softness, neither bright nor dark, but held in a gentle in-between. Inside the bookstore, this moonlight feels like a companion to the lamplight cool, where the lamps are warm still, where the flames are alive. It casts long, slow shadows across the floor, reaching in delicate lines between the aisles. The figure stands before the window, hands resting lightly on the wooden sill. The sill is smooth from years of touch, its paint worn into a soft patina. The faint coolness of the glass radiates through the air, bringing a refreshing balance to the surrounding warmth. Gazing out, the figure takes in the slow rhythm of the snowfall. It is easy to imagine the entire world outside resting, pausing, breathing, with the gentle cadence of winter night. Street lamps glow like lonely stars, their light drifting through the flakes in small halos. The sound is silence, deep, complete, profound, blanketing the town, just as snow blankets the rooftops. A soft reflection moves across the window pane. The fire's distant glow, warm and muted, flickers at the edge of the glass. It blends with the lantern glow lingering behind, creating a gentle interplay of gold and silver. The figure watches these layered lights on the frost-fogged surface amber from within moonlit blue. From without, merging into a tapestry of quiet hues that shift with every small motion of flame or drifting snowflakes. After a long, peaceful moment at the window, the figure steps away, letting the moonlight fall again across the floor uninterrupted. The path leads deeper into the bookstore's rear section, a place where the shelves grow taller, the ceilings higher, and the air carries a stillness that feels almost sacred. The wood here is darker, older, and the texture of the floor changes as woven rugs give way to smooth, polished boards. The shift in sound is noticeable. Footsteps become slightly more resonant, though still soft, cushioned by the store's natural gentle acoustics. A shelf to the left catches the figure's attention. Its lower rows hold large, oversized books, atlas-sized volumes with thick covers and heavy pages. The upper shelves house thinner, more delicate editions, poetry collections, handwritten journals, small books bound in leather that has faded to smoky blue and soft brown. Dust lies evenly along the top shelf, glowing silver under the moonlight. A particular volume stands out, not because it is new or ornate, but because its spine is slightly askew, leaning ever so gently away from its neighbors. The figure reaches for it. The cover is cool under the fingertips, textured and slightly worn. When lifted, the book has a reassuring weight, substantial but not heavy. Opening it reveals thick, creamy pages, each one adorned with soft illustrations in muted tones, winter landscapes, moonlit fields, quiet roads stretching beneath star-filled skies. The artwork is delicate, formed with gentle strokes of watercolor that seem to blur slightly at their edges, as though the scenes themselves are caught between dreaming and waking. The text beside each illustration is sparse, only a few lines per page, written in elegant script. Words that evoke stillness, memory, and quiet places of the heart. Words that ask nothing, offer everything, and linger in the mind long after the page is turned. The figure turns the pages, slowly letting each image settle. One page depicts a small cabin on a hill, its single window glowing gold beneath a full moon. Another shows a river bank covered in snow, its waters so still they reflect the stars like polished silver. Another, perhaps the most peaceful, shows a lantern hanging from the branch of an evergreen tree, its light falling in soft arcs across a blanket of untouched snow. This last image feels especially close to the moment, echoing the lantern-lit corner just visited. It creates a sense of gentle continuity, a reminder that peaceful moments connect themselves across space and time, often without notice. The book closes with a soft thump, and the figure places it back into its slightly uneven place on the shelf. It fits neatly, leaning just a little as it did before, as though it prefers that angle. A fondness for such tiny imperfections settles warmly in the mind. Drifting deeper into the rear of the bookstore, the figure approaches a long wooden table. It sits beneath a tall, arched window, the highest window in the store. Moonlight pours through it in a tranquil cascade, illuminating the table in a soft, silvery wash. The table bears a scattering of objects, a few loose pages of handwritten notes, a dried sprig of lavender, a quill pen resting in a ceramic holder. The fragrance of the lavender is faint but distinct when the figure nears a whisper of warmth amidst winter's cool breath. A single book lies open on the table. Its pages face upward, though no one has turned them recently. The spine lies relaxed, as though the book has been resting here for a long while. The text speaks of winter journeys, not of travel, but of inner wandering. Quiet thoughts that drift like snowflakes, memories that soften edges rather than sharpen them. The words are gentle, as though the writer understood the value of silence between sentences. The figure runs a fingertip along the margin of the open page. The paper is smooth, finely pressed, cool to the touch. The margin bears a faint imprint, perhaps, where someone once rested their hand years ago. The idea of shared stillness, shared quiet moments across time, brings a soft warmth to the chest. This bookstore, with all its stories and its silence, has held countless such nights. The moonlight gathers more deeply as a cloud drifts away, brightening the rear of the store. Shadows soften further, smoothing the edges of shelves and table legs until everything appears gently blurred, as though the night itself breathes a slow exhale over the room. The figure closes the open book carefully, ensuring the pages align perfectly. The cover settles with a soft, satisfying weight. A deep stillness follows, unbroken, whole, serene. In this moonlit section of the bookstore, the night feels like a quiet companion, a presence that brings clarity without sharpness, coolness without cold. The figure pauses once more to watch the moonlight settle across the floor, glimmering faintly in the grain of the wood, and lets the moment take root in the heart. Eventually, footsteps return toward the lamps, and warmth carrying moonlight with them like a soft memory trailing behind. The store shifts gently as the figure walks light, fading into warmth, silver blending into amber night, merging into glow. The journey moves toward deeper stillness, each breath slower, each thought softer. The evening now rests in its calmest hour, and the story continues to settle like snow drifting onto quiet rooftops, unhurried and utterly at peace. The bookstore feels different now, not in any way that breaks the stillness, but in a way that deepens it. Moonlight remains in the distance, silver and soft, along the far shelves. But the figure has returned to the warmer heart of the store, where lamplight spreads in gentle pools and shadows gather quietly in corners. The transition from cool silver to muted amber feels like stepping through layers of night, each one softer, each one slowing the breath just a little more. The fire in the alcove glows low, its earlier liveliness settled into a quiet bed of embers. The flames have reduced to small flickers, rising only occasionally from logs that now resemble carved shapes of molten orange. There is a deep hum of warmth in the air, not intense but comforting, blending with the faint scent of wood smoke that lingers like a memory. The figure doesn't return to the armchair just yet, though its presence feels like an invitation, one that can be answered at any moment. Instead, steps turn toward a long shelf near the center of the room. This shelf is arranged with uncommon care, its books placed in gentle gradients of tone light to dark, warm to cool, like a quiet spectrum of stillness. Some spines have faded into softness, others remain crisp. A few hold embossed patterns that shimmer lightly in lamplight, curling vines, tiny stars, delicate lines etched like lace. The figure trails fingers across them, feeling the slight rise of patterns beneath the skin. A small reading table sits nearby, round and sturdy, its surface polished, but marked with faint rings from cups long emptied. On it lies a book left open earlier in the evening. The figure pauses beside it, noticing how the lamplight brushes across the exposed pages, turning the ink into warm, velvety strokes. A thin ribbon bookmark rests curled at the top, its fabric frayed at the end from years of patient use. The figure does not read yet. Instead, they stand for a moment, hand resting lightly on the table's edge, feeling the faint warmth left from earlier hours. The air in this part of the store carries a subtle fragrance, something like warm cedar mixed with the sweetness of old ink. Every breath brings a little more calm, easing the chest, loosening the shoulders, deepening the sense of quiet saturation. Around the table, shadows sway gently. The lamplight here is steady, but not constant. It flickers slightly with the rhythm of the fire to the right, sending slow-moving shapes across the floorboards. The patterns shift like drifting clouds, softening as they move. The figure watches them for a moment, letting the slow motion guide thoughts into deeper ease. Taking a seat at the table, the figure lifts the open book. The spine bends with a soft sound, an old familiar sigh. The paper is thick and slightly rough, carrying tiny, uneven fibers that catch the light. The story continues with a description of nighttime quiet, how a room fills with gentle sounds, when the world sleeps, how shadows become companions, how breath moves through the dark like a small, steady lantern. The figure reads only a few lines before setting the book back down. It is not that the story isn't captivating, it is. But the atmosphere of the shop is now a story all its own, one that asks not to be followed, but to be felt. The figure leans back slightly in the wooden chair, allowing the backrest to cradle the spine. The chair's wood is cool where the body doesn't touch it, warm where it does. Its faint creak as the figure settles into it feels like a gentle voice acknowledging presence. After a few quiet breaths, the figure rises again, drawn toward a narrow staircase along the side wall, a small feature of the store that might go unnoticed in brighter hours. The steps are worn at the center from many years of gentle use. Each one dips slightly, the wood polished smooth in subtle curves that guide the feet with natural ease. A hand rests along the banister, feeling the grain beneath the skin, the faint warmth of polished wood. The steps lead to a small mezzanine just a few feet above the main floor. From here, the bookstore looks even softer. The aisles curve gently, shelves standing like quiet trees in a nighttime forest. Pools of lamplight glow below each, surrounded by soft edges. The moonlight remains behind the distant windows, painting the upper edges of shelves in faint silver. From this height, the interplay of warm and cool light becomes mesmerizing, like a soft duet of winter and fire. A long bench spans the length of the mezzanine. Cushions rest along it, simple in design but plush with use. The figure sits upon one, feeling the seat cushion dip slightly under their weight. The fabric is soft against the hands, woven with threads in tones of cream and muted gold. A single pillow rests at the far end of the bench, embroidered with a pattern of small lanterns, a fitting motif for a place so rich in gentle light. From this vantage point, the figure watches the bookstore breathe. There is the nearly inaudible sound of settling shelves, the faint crackle from the embers, the whisper of fabric shifting whenever the figure moves. Dust motes drift through beams of light in slow, dreamy spirals. The warmth from the lower lamps rises just enough to take any edge from the mezzanine's cooler air. This quiet, elevated space invites reflection. The figure's thoughts begin to stretch like long shadows moving gently through the mind without direction. Memories arise, moments of winter evenings, long past mornings spent reading by windows, times when silence felt like the most welcoming companion. These thoughts carry no weight. They float softly, blending with the bookstore's tranquil atmosphere. After a long, restful pause, the figure rises and walks to the far end of the mezzanine, where a wooden chest sits beneath a slanted beam. The chest's lid is carved with delicate patterns, small flowering branches, curling leaves, slender lines that intertwine like threads. When the lid is lifted, it reveals bundled letters, stacks of thin paper old journals filled with looping handwriting. The scent that rises is faint but distinct. Dried ink, old envelopes, gentle hints of lavender pressed between pages. The figure lifts a journal, its cover soft with age, its spine slightly loose. The pages inside are filled with reflections from many winters, notes about snowfall, about lanterns glowing in windows, about evenings spent reading in warm corners much like this one. Some entries describe dreams, soft drifting thoughts captured in simple phrases. Others describe nothing at all, simply listing colors observed in moonlight, or the sound of a kettle boiling, or the way dust moved in a beam of afternoon sun. The journal's presence feels intimate, almost companionable. The figure closes it gently, returning it to the chest, and lowers the lid in silence. The tiny click of wood meeting wood blends seamlessly into the stillness. The mezzanine feels like a small sanctuary above a sanctuary, a quiet perch where night slows to its gentlest rhythm. The figure returns to the staircase, steps descending slowly, each footfall softened by the worn wood. At the bottom, the warmth rises again, welcoming like a familiar embrace. The fire's glow has dimmed further now, nearly all ember and soft orange size. A thin wavering flame still lingers, but it is small, delicate. The figure approaches the alcove with slow steps, standing for a moment at the edge of the firelight. The knitted throw remains draped over the armchair, untouched since earlier. Its texture glows in muted tones beneath the lamp, a blend of soft grays and pale browns that seem to invite rest. The figure lifts the throw and folds it once more, smoothing its edges, then places it carefully over the back of the chair. This small act feels like a ritual of care, an acknowledgement that the space has offered comfort and will do so again. The chair seems to soften beneath the touch, as though grateful. The cup from earlier sits empty now, its porcelain cool. The candle beside it has burned low, its flame tiny but steady. Its pool of wax glimmers faintly, catching the shifting light of the embers. The figure watches the candle for a moment, noticing the soft halo it casts across the tabletop. A deep sense of rest settles. Not the rest of sleep yet that will come later, but the rest that precedes it. The quiet leveling of thoughts, the gentle release of inner tension, the recognition of warm sanctuary. Every shelf, every lamp, every inch of the bookstore seems to hum with this same mood, as though the building itself is winding down, preparing for the final softness of night. The figure stands in the center of the store, once more positioned between the warmth of the fire and the cool memory of moonlight. The space feels complete now, each corner discovered, each pool of light visited, each quiet moment held with care. The night breathes around them. The bookstore breathes with it. And everything inside begins to move toward the deepest, calmest hour. Slowly, mindfully, the figure walks toward the rear of the store, where the lights grow dimmer and the air grows cooler, readying the night for its final descent into stillness. The night has drawn itself fully over the little town now, as gently as a quilt placed over sleeping shoulders. Outside, the snow continues to fall in soft, unbroken patterns, thickening the white layer along streets and rooftops, smoothing every edge into rounded calm. Street lamps glow like quiet sentinels, haloed by the drifting flakes, their light carrying no urgency, only a patient, watchful peace. Inside the cozy bookstore, this deepening stillness can be felt in the air itself, as though the building has gradually synchronized its breathing with the winter night beyond. At the rear of the store, where the lights are dimmer and the moon's silver touch lingers softly along upper shelves, the air is cool and clean. The figure stands there for a moment, letting the quiet settle fully. The tall window, its glass misted at the edges, offers a muted view of falling snow. Flakes move in slow cascades through the beams of light outside, forming translucent veils that appear briefly then dissolve into the wider white. The shelves around this window seem to lean in slightly, as though listening to the silence. Their rows of books, cloaked in shadow and faint reflected glow, hold their own patient stillness. Some covers catch the dim light in subtle glints, tiny reflections, like distant stars resting between titles. The wood of the shelving is cool beneath a brushing hand, its grain smooth and steady. A faint scent of old bindings lingers here, intertwined with the delicate, crisp smell of winter pressing against the glass. The figure drifts along this back wall, fingertips tracing the air just in front of the spines. No selection is required now. The gesture itself is enough. It is a quiet farewell to this hidden corner, a soft acknowledgement of its sheltering quiet. The window's silver glow follows stretching across the floor in a gentle band seems to guide the steps forward. Moving back toward the heart of the bookstore, the glow of the lamps gradually grows warmer again. Their amber light spreads over the floorboards, touching the edges of rugs, gathering around table legs, softening the outlines of chairs and shelves. The air here feels slightly warmer, just enough to ease the difference between inside and out. The faint fragrance of cooling tea still lingers, sweet floral with a memory of steam that has long since faded into the room. The long central shelf, with its careful arrangement of colors and patterns, stands quietly beneath a low-hanging lamp. Its light is softer now, turned down to a gentler level, as if mindful of the late hour. Shadows between the books deepen in narrow lines, while the edges of the spines glow with a subtle sheen. The figure passes by them, feeling the low hum of their present stories, untold stories, remembered stories, waiting patiently for another night. Near the center of the room, the round reading table has settled into its own quiet. The chair is tucked in the open book from earlier, now closed, resting in the center with its cover facing up. The ribbon bookmark lies neatly across it. The lamp above casts a warm but subdued halo over the tabletop, leaving the far edges in a cool gradient of shadow. A tiny pool of wax remains where a candle burned earlier. Its surface is smooth now, the flame long gone. The faint scent of beeswax and smoke still lingers, echoing the earlier glow. The figure's steps curve gently past the table, drawn once more toward the firelit alcove, where the bookstore's warmest light still whispers softly against the dark. The hearth is quieter now than before. The logs have collapsed into a bed of glowing embers, their orange light deep and steady. Thin threads of faint flame rise here and there, no longer reaching high, but shimmering gently from within the coals. The bricks around the fire hold a comfortable warmth, radiating into the small alcove in soft waves. The sound has changed too. The crackle and pop of burning wood reduced to an occasional soft sigh. The subtle settling of ash and ember. The armchair, with its curved back and familiar cushions, rests in its place facing the hearth. The knitted throw, carefully draped over the back, hangs in soft folds. The fabric catches the glow of the embers, its subtle colors, soft grays, muted browns, mingling with the warm orange light in a gentle textured shimmer. One arm of the chair gleams faintly where the fabric has been worn smooth by countless resting hands. Beside the chair, the small round table holds its quiet arrangement. The cup from earlier is now entirely cool, a faint ring of tea lingering at its bottom, reflecting emberlight in a thin, delicate crescent. The candle has burned almost completely down. Only a short stem of wax remains around the wick. The last of its flame flickers low, as if aware that the night is nearing its deepest moment. The scent of beeswax is very faint now, blending seamlessly with the mild fragrance of wood smoke and old paper. The figure steps into the alcove, pausing just a moment to take in the scene. It feels like the heart of the evening. Everything that has unfolded in this bookstore gently gathered into one small circle of warmth, glow and quiet. Lowering into the armchair, the figure feels the cushions yield in a soft, familiar way. The fabric is pleasantly warm, infused with the day's earlier heat. As the body settles, the chair embraces it in all the right places along the back, under the arms, beneath the legs. The knitted throw is drawn calmly down from the back and draped across the lap, its weight light but reassuring. The yarn's texture brushes the fingers in gentle ridges, a tactile echo of comfort. The eyes rest on the embers, following the slow movements of their light. Some areas glow more brightly for a moment, then dim as others take their turn. Tiny points of golden light appear and fade along the surface, like small quiet stars, shifting in an autumn sky. The room's other sounds fade into the distance, leaving the soft, almost inaudible crackle of heat meeting wood as the dominant note in the hush. Breath slows to match this rhythm. Inhale and exhale flow evenly, naturally gathering warmth on the way in and releasing whatever remains of the day on the way out. The lungs fill with air, gently flavored by smoke and faint sweetness. The chest rises, falls, rises, falls, unhurried, steady calm. The lamplight in the alcove is adjusted to a lower glow, barely more than a shadowed halo around the base of the shade. The figure's hand lifts to touch the switch fingers, brushing against the cool metal, then withdraws. The room darkens by a degree, allowing the embers to become the primary source of light. Their glow paints the nearby shelves in low amber waves, leaving the tops in soft darkness. The effect is tender, like twilight gathered inside four walls. In this reduced light, titles blur into shapes. The details of objects, bindings, grains of wood, delicate lines of pottery become less distinct, more impressionistic. The mind is freed from the pull of specifics, invited instead to rest in simple impressions, warm, cool, near, far, light, dark. The familiar forms of the room are still there, but softened as though viewed through gently closing eyes. thoughts grow quieter. Earlier moments of the evening drift past, like scenes glimpsed from a slowly moving train. The lantern-lit corner, the cushion on the floor, the moonlight over the shelves, the view from the mezzanine. Each memory glows briefly, then passes, leaving behind only a residue of calm. There is no need to hold on to any of them. The feeling they share is already here, saturating the present space. The figure's hands rest now relaxed, palms down upon the arms of the chair. Fingers uncurl, shoulders soften and sink more deeply into the backrest. The knitted throw has reached down to the ankles, its warmth gathering gently around feet and legs. The air in the alcove is the quietest it has been all night. The fire makes only the smallest occasional sound, like a whisper from another room. Beyond the walls, the snow continues to fall. It gathers along the bookstore's windowsills and ledges, filling tiny crevices in wood and stone, softening the edges of signs and steps. The town's distant noises have quieted to almost nothing. A far-off car might pass now and then, muffled to a distant hush by the thickening snow. But even that sound becomes part of the lullaby of the night. The world outside is wrapped in its own blanket of stillness. Inside the bookstore feels entirely at rest. Shelves hold their silent rows of stories, comfortable in darkness. Tables stand with their modest arrangements of books and small objects, grateful for the end of the day. The mezzanine sits in a soft veil of shadow, remembering the weight of earlier footsteps. The lantern in the distant corner no longer burns its wick, resting its glass cooling in the air. Only the embers and the faint lamplight remain to witness the final settling of the night. Time becomes indistinct. The boundaries between minutes melt, stretching into one gentle, continuous moment. The figure in the armchair feels less like a separate presence and more like part of the room itself. Part of the warmed air, part of the shadows on the wall, part of the soft orange glow reflected in the glass. The bookstore, the night and the resting figure share a single peaceful rhythm. Slowly, the fire continues its natural descent. The embers dim by small increments, their orange light gradually softening into deeper copper, then into a dusky, muted glow. A last tiny flame curls upward, flickers once, and folds back into the coals. The warmth remains a gentle presence that no longer needs to show itself with light. The hearth becomes a cradle of faint radiance, enough to hint at shape, not enough to disturb the darkness. The lamplight, low and steady, seems to bow to this quiet. Its glow no longer reaches far. It rests close to the table, to the curve of the armchair, to the edge of the knitted throw. Beyond that, the rest of the bookstore settles into a soft obscurity, its details surrendered to shadow, its contours blurred into peaceful suggestion. One last breath deepens, filling the lungs with the warm, book-scented air. The exhale that follows feels like a release, not of anything specific, just a gentle letting go of the day of thoughts of effort, letting the stillness take over, letting the night complete its soft embrace. In this final quiet moment, the cozy winter bookstore holds everything in perfect balance. Warmth and coolness, story and silence glow, and shadow presence and rest. The falling snow outside, the dimming embers inside the rows of sleeping books, all are part of the same tranquil lullaby. The room does not ask for anything. It simply exists in calm, in gentleness, in peace. And within it, held by lamplight and winter's hush, the last waking thoughts dissolve like snowflakes disappearing upon a warm, welcoming surface. The night has arrived at its softest point. Nothing more is needed. Only rest, sleep well, dream softly, and may the night hold you kindly.